And good evening, everyone. Welcome to TSSR Weekly, live from Sports Corner at 124 in downtown Macomb. I'm Dwayne Hulett, Kenny Suter alongside. It's been a couple weeks since we've been here. Had some big volleyball games last week that kept us out of town for TSSR Weekly. So we come tonight after a big Macomb awards banquet or awards ceremony, as they had all the teams at Macomb come together for their fall sports awards tonight, and that was a lot of fun. And tons of kids. They have tons and tons of kids. It's like a third of their kids play a varsity or play a sport at Macomb High, so that's pretty cool.
Especially coming from someplace like Bushnell, which, you know, has a respectable number when it comes to the ratio of kids playing, but just the sheer mass sometimes. You forget, like, how big Macomb is, you know, when it comes to the amount of kids through that high school, how expansive that is. Once got lost in there trying to find a bathroom during a scholastic bowl tournament.
Yeah, the round hallways at Macomb can get people a little discombobulated. There's no doubt about that. But a lot of kids, and they had a lot of success at Macomb this year. I mean, not only at the conference level, but at the regional, sectional, state level. So it's been a good year for Macomb. It's been a good year for some other area teams. You know, West Prairie made the playoffs in football and lost in the opening round, but did make the playoffs for the second year in a row. So they're a 2-year school in 8-man football and have made the postseason most seasons. So that's I think as we close out on the fall sports a little bit now, as we just have 3 more football games, and that's all for fall sports. And girls basketball starts next week.
Better give me that schedule soon, because I know I'm going to be all over for that.
Yeah, I did. I thought I had another week. It's one of those deals where I was like, we got another week. We got football still. But girls basketball starts a little bit earlier. So we got the Macomb tournament next week. I'll be there, I think, every night of the week pretty much. And then we've got 2 semifinal I-8FA games this weekend as West Central, kind of a pretty much local team, goes to Polo. I'll be doing that game with John Burton. And then you'll be up to Amboy as 2 – I don't know, I want to say surprises, but kind of surprises, and Amboy and St. Thomas More play.
It's going to be a fun matchup. We're basically going to be right next to each other, Polo and Amboy, real up there, as sadly my color man most games when he can make it, Wayne, it will not be able to attend. You know, he lived at Amboy for a while and played against Polo, and he was like, anytime you go up there, man, call me. I want to go up and do those games. And he's got color guard and Western to do, so he's pretty mad about that. But Amboy won in a nail-biter last game. Last-second fumble recovery, you know, down up 2 right on the goal line. That was a real great game. You can watch again here on TSSR Game Time Live, and I expect another great one tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but Saturday.
Yeah, it should be a couple good games. And West Central, did you get some highlights done for West Central?
Of course I did.
The
easiest highlights I've ever done in my life. They were done in 5 minutes. I just looked for the scoreboard change.
First 5 plays.
I looked for look for the scoreboard change, cut it as Drosty running no matter what.
It was a crazy game a couple weeks ago as we did that game against South Beloit. So we'll have some highlights from that a little bit later. What's cool is we got Kennedy Adair, who is in the back of the room right now. We'll have her on in just a few minutes. And she just signed her national letter of intent to play at Western for volleyball as they closed out their volleyball season in the sectional final against QND last Wednesday. We'll have highlights of that. We'll have highlights of their game, I think, on Monday night against Sherrard. And then we'll have, of course, some more football, you know, the Bombers football, as they played a couple games with QND 2 weeks ago, and then this past Saturday they lost to Murfreesboro. So we'll show highlights of that, as both were really good games and a lot of great football. So, well, Kenny, we'll take a break, our first break here on TSSR Weekly. We'll get Kennedy up here. She's had a long night up on the stage. Oh, yeah. You know, all the awards and stuff, and then a long day of signing. It's been an emotional day. She's been interviewed by WGEM, by KHQA, Chris Dewar, and so she is doing the media rounds, and we
save the best for last.
Well, I don't know if I'd say that, but we will be the last of the day, I would imagine. So we'll be back here on TSSR Weekly in just a few minutes. We'll have Kennedy Adair from the Macomb Bombers volleyball team in just a couple minutes.
At Western Illinois University, leathernecks don't just blend in. Our purple stands out. Our students are innovative, creative, and resilient. At WIU, there is limitless potential, with campuses in Macomb, the Quad Cities, and online. Visit wiu.edu/potential to become a Leatherneck and get an education that stands out.
I went through MDH when we were trying to get pregnant. We were struggling the first year, and then when we got pregnant, I stayed at MDH and through labor and now for pediatrics. My experience was nothing short of phenomenal. I was met with amazing staff members who helped me through concerns that I had when she was first born, helping me learn how to be a new mom. It was really reassuring and comforting knowing that I had so much support and kindness around me. My entire pregnancy at MDH was amazing.
At Country Financial, we enjoy serving the community in which we live, big or small.
I love living in the Blandonsville area. It's where I grew up, went to school, and decided to raise my family. I never had a desire to live or work anywhere other than in a small town. I feel lucky to help my longtime friends and neighbors with their insurance needs. It's like working with family every day.
I'm Brett Powell, your local Country Financial representative, whose door is always open to work with you.
And welcome back to Sports Corner at 124 in downtown Macomb. I'm Dwayne Hulett. Kennedy Adair, and Kennedy, the best volleyball player probably in our coverage area, and we hadn't had you on yet. It's a big day for you. We were talking before we left to break. You were back talking to your fan section that's back there. But we were talking that it's been like a media day for you. You've talked to TV stations and all kinds of stuff and had big signings and awards. It's been a long day.
Oh yeah, today has definitely been a little mentally draining, but it's been really exciting, a really exciting day. So.
Well, I see you don't have orange and black on tonight. You got purple and gold on tonight. A big day for you.
That's right. I'm sporting my Western gear.
Well, you signed your national letter of intent to play at Western, and I know that it was important for you to stay close to home. I think you wanted to be close to home, but a D1 program that a lot of people think is on the rise, and I'm sure you hope to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's amazing to stay here, and the support that I get from my community, it really helps me. I really like staying close to home, and I'm really excited for Western.
So what you've went out and watched some games, obviously. So what do you think is going to be the biggest change for you going from a pretty good 2A school to Division I volleyball next year?
It's definitely a higher playing level. It's definitely a more intense game. Going from 3 sets to 5 sets is going to be a big change. So I'm ready for the challenge, though, and hopefully it'll be fun. You know,
it's funny hearing you say going from 3 sets to 5 is going to be a challenge, because as a journalist, I covered Iowa volleyball, and they play 5 sets in high school. And that was a challenge for me to remember that, all right, it's 2 and we're over. Oh, no, we got another one yet. So having been used to playing a 3-set match, going to a 5-set match, I would imagine you have to, I don't know if you have to pace yourself a little more, but there probably is a little bit of mental change to that, isn't there?
Yeah, I think it is definitely a mental change. And then also –
I think they're trying to embarrass you. Coach Sullivan, who else back there? Your dad's back there. Coach Sullivan's back there.
Sisters.
Your sisters are back there. They weren't back there when I came in.
Nope.
At least your aunt's not here. Aunt, I worked with your aunt for a long time. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I wish she was here, because then we could make fun of her. I mean, no, I would not make fun of your aunt. I would not do that. I probably would do that.
Right.
Anyway,
I would too.
You would too. All right, that's what I like to hear. Let's get back to volleyball. So the 5-set thing, I would think that there has to be a little bit of a mental change to some extent. As you get ready to do that, do you like that high school is 3 sets and not 5? Do you think that's enough?
I think that 5 sets is definitely a mentally challenging, like shifting from 3 to 5. But then also 5 sets can be such an advantage, because when you play 3 sets in volleyball, it's the best 2 out of 3. But when you go 5 sets, you have more of an opportunity to change your play with each set and shift the morale through each set.
Yeah, and I think that's the case too. And at the same time, though, when you're a lot better than your Macomb team this year, I mean, you would have won 3 games 15-6, 15-12, 15-10 instead of a 15-6, 15. So, I mean, there's two sides to that, right? I mean, at some point you probably maybe get a little more lackadaisical because you're just like, gosh, can't this be over?
Yeah, well, especially in like the more intense games, I think that going 5 sets would definitely help. Like, if
What would Q&D been like if you'd had 5 sets in those 2 matches?
I think that we would have had a chance to look at what we've done, turn around, have more of a chance to see like what they were giving us, and then react to it instead of just having the one set, something that we can't control is taking over a set, and then that's one lost.
So looking back, 1,066 kills. Is that what I heard tonight?
Mm-hmm.
That's. Does your arm get sore? Like, I mean, does your arm ever just hurt from swinging it so much?
No arm problems, but legs get a little sore from jumping. But
1,066 kills. When you started high school, did you think that 1,000 kills would be within your reach?
When I started high school volleyball, I had no idea what was going on, so I didn't even know what a good kill percentage was. So learned a lot over the years, and I've grown mentally, and volleyball has really helped me.
What you got a sister or two that plays? Your aunt actually laughed at me because during the first Q&D match, I was laughing because you were moving Taylor around, like you grab her and just shove her somewhere. It's like, move over here, get over there. As a senior on a team that was pretty good, it seemed like you felt like leadership was one of the things that was important for you.
Oh yeah, well, definitely got a little rougher with my sisters, but you know, that's just because I can. This team was a big help, and a lot of the seniors did a really good job leading, helping me along. And a lot of our teammates did a good job talking.
You had a pretty good setter, and I think that you were maybe the focus for a lot of people. But I think as much help to you was the fact that there was 2 or 3 other girls that were in your senior class that are pretty good hitters too. That, you know, Allie Thorman comes to mind, or Stortson comes to mind. It kind of takes some pressure off of you. I mean, yeah, I know Stortson was playing when you're in the back row, but you didn't have to, like, oh my God, I got to get every kill when I'm in the front row, because when I get to the back row, there's nobody that can. You still had hitters all the way through the lineup.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge weight lifted off my shoulders when I know that my teammates can perform and will perform without putting the load on myself. And so thankful for that this year. They really showed up.
Well, you tallest kid on the floor, but you played all the way around. You played defense too. Do you think that's one of the things that made you more of a benefit for a D1 school, the fact that with your size you can still pass the ball really well too?
Yeah, I think a lot of colleges look for 6 rotation players, and even if you don't play 6 rotation in the game, you can be like a key component in practices, or just able to move and be a leader on the court. Well,
you told me, we talked briefly after one volleyball. You've got some family that's playing some volleyball too, don't you?
Yeah. Ashley played at Texas 2 years ago, and she's coaching now. And then Jenny's playing in Kansas, I think. I don't remember.
So,
I forget,
but college ball is not something that's outside the range. So you're setting the bar high for your 2 younger sisters. Are they? Is volleyball their thing, or is something else kind of their thing?
I think that volleyball could be a possibility in their futures, but they haven't looked too far down that road yet. It's always a goal. It's always a good goal to have, but if they don't decide to continue their career in college, I won't be upset with them.
What's your plan the rest of your high school career? Basketball, spring sport. Are you not doing anything else and just focusing on volleyball since you're saying Joe National letter of intent? What's your plan?
Volleyball, 24/7. Gonna get a lot of lifting and a lot of weight training. Get a lot of touches over in the off season and focus on that.
When you become a D1 athlete, if you weren't already focused on one sport, they want you to become focused on one sport, don't they? Or are they already saying, hey, this is what you need to work on, or this is the areas of strength conditioning you need? Has that kind of stuff already been talked about?
They can't give me anything until I sign, like, workout-wise or, like, lifting-wise. But they have given me some things to work on during camps, and I try to take that into my practices and into my playing.
So is hitting the best part of volleyball for you? I mean, maybe it's the best thing you're good, but is that the part that you actually enjoy the most?
I love hitting, but this year especially, I think that focusing on my serving was a big part because I feel like I can control the game more when things aren't going my way. If I'm behind the service line, I can put something on the ball. I have control over the game.
I watch a lot of volleyball, and I understand volleyball a little bit. Emma Hoeing's serve, phenomenal. I didn't notice it early in the year. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. But it looked like, I don't know, it was like halfway through the year I noticed it. You're like serving a changeup almost. It was, the thing would get to the net and be like, you're swinging as hard as you can swing, and then it just goes and just falls at like the 10-foot line. What is that? Were you doing it, first of all, were you doing it all year and I didn't notice, or did you add that to the repertoire?
As I moved further towards the year, I learned that different teams handle different balls in a different way. So if I serve one team deep and they're getting all the balls, then I'll try to make it drop in front of them, and hopefully that'll help out. So I do try to strategize like where my serve is going. And
so how the heck do you do that? I mean, I didn't notice your arm swing being that much different, but the ball, it was like a pitcher throwing a palm changeup that just it looks like it's normal, and then it just doesn't go anywhere. Are you hitting it any different? Or are you just hitting it a little softer and you can't really notice the arm speed much?
Arm swing stays the same. It's more of like the toss and like where you finish at.
Follow through and stuff like that.
It's a lot of little things.
I watched you serving, and I think it might have been when you started serving at Mr. Horrell.
No.
I want to point out, and I said this because Justice and I were talking about it while you were doing it. You were really nice to Mr. Horrell, A.D. Horrell. You did not serve very hard at him. Now, were you purposely taking it easy on him?
Well, I don't want to break him.
You don't want to break him. I see how it is. Well, I suppose he probably appreciates that. But so we have to talk about Q&D. I mean, Q&D's kind of been a nemesis for you probably your whole high school career, but a roller coaster with them this year. How awesome was the win at the Pit, and how heartbreaking was the loss at Farmington?
Winning at the Pit meant a lot, and I think that it's definitely one of the major highlights of my senior year. The support that we had from the student section, and even watching on the program was more than I could have ever asked for, and it was just an amazing experience to win on their home court, to win a game that I didn't have a lot of faith in at the moment.
In your defense, that's a very good volleyball team, and that's a very tough place to play.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you guys handled Southeastern pretty easily, but they demoralized Southeastern the night before. You guys beat them. So, I mean, they probably have – I told their coach when I interviewed her, there's probably 4 legitimate D1 type athletes on that team. I mean, that's a good volleyball team.
Yeah, they are very athletic. They run – their offense is very fast, and their defense was on in the sectional game that we played them in. And I think we were able – in the game that we won earlier in the season, we were able to keep them out of system with our serving and with our swings. And in this sectional game, their defense was on, which allowed them to run the ball faster, and our block and our defense kind of fell apart in the last set.
For people who don't necessarily understand, out of system means that it's not the normal bump set by a setter hit, right? It's a either you serve at the setter and make her be out of system by serve receive, or you serve down the lines, which I thought in the first match you guys served the lines and served very difficult serves for them to serve receive, and that wasn't quite as effective in the championship game.
Right, yeah. Their serve receive was definitely on, and we were out of system a lot in the sectional game. We had a lot of Emma Hoyning, her serve.
That toss is amazing to me. I talk about it like every time I watched him play. That toss almost hits the ceiling, for God's sakes.
She was on.
Yeah, she was on. She had like 15 kills and 12 service points. And
at that point,
it's pretty hard.
It was hard to handle. But
how about your student section at that match? I mean, both teams had. I've been to, like I said, I've been to a lot of volleyball. Those two student sections at that sectional championship match were phenomenal. I mean, when you were playing as a freshman or a sophomore or a junior, that's a basketball or a football thing. That's not a volleyball thing. How cool was that for you guys?
Right, especially after coming off of COVID year, when we weren't allowed any spectators.
Right.
It was a crazy environment. I walked out of the gym, my ears were ringing. I couldn't say anything to my team. I was screaming at them in the huddle. But I'm so thankful to be able to experience that kind of environment in a high school setting.
Right. So how important are your parents and your little sisters and everybody to this day of you getting to sign a national letter of intent at a D1 school? How important have they been to this?
My parents have played a big role in everything that I've accomplished, from driving me to club, signing me up for JBV in 4th grade, driving me 2 hours to Bettendorf 3 times a week for practices, tournaments all over the country. They've been a big help, a big support. My sisters, they're always there if I need to work on something. I'll ask them to play sand volleyball. They'll do it with me.
So why didn't you teach one of them to be a setter? One of them could have passed. One of them could have set. That would have been perfect for you.
I guess it would have.
You should have. Maybe you still got time. You got 4 more years of volleyball. You can teach one of them to be a setter, can't you? If you could pick which one of them to be a setter, which one would be a setter?
Probably Jackie.
Jackie?
Yeah, Taylor doesn't have the hands to be a setter. Well, if I was to pick out of us 3, it'd be me.
Oh, you would be the setter?
Because I have the best hands out of all 3 of us.
Is that right? If I asked them that, would they say that?
They're too proud, but they know the truth.
They know the truth. Well, I say congratulations on signing your D1 national letter of intent today. Was a fun night at the awards, getting everybody together. I mean, I know some people kind of groaned, and Coach Horrell said, people. But, I mean, for you guys as students, that had to be kind of cool to see all the students that take part in all those sports, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. I was definitely interested in seeing, everyone who competed. You hear a lot about the volleyball and the football team throughout the year, but you don't get to hear a lot about, the swimming, tennis, not even golf. I like to hear about those things, and I like to see the people that I go to school with and be recognized for everything that they do.
Macomb had a pretty good year. I mean, not just football and volleyball, right? Swimming did some things that they were proud of. Cross country improved after losing a ton of kids. They improved all season long. Golf did well. I mean, it's been a good fall season for Macomb High, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and hopefully we can carry that over into winter sports.
So you're going to focus on volleyball. So what does that mean for you at basketball games? Do you go? Do you cheer? What's that mean for you for school activities the rest of the way?
I'll be there cheering them on, but I'm gonna focus on volleyball a lot of the times. I'll be there like they were for me. But,
And that's all you can ask for, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Kennedy, congratulations. Very proud of you. I've had to listen about how good you were from your aunt for quite a while. So you probably should say hi to her or something.
Hello.
I'm sure she's watching. I can't believe she didn't comment or say something, to be honest with you. So, well, we'll be taking a break, and we'll be back here with Coach Sullivan of the girls' golf team from Macomb High in just a couple minutes. You're watching TSSR Weekly live from Sports Corner at 124.
We're an
I feel honored for those patients to have chosen me as their provider to begin with. So when they come in, I definitely have to show them respect and try to take care of them the best way I can.
And welcome back to Sports Corner at 124. Dwayne Hulett. Now, I don't want to call you Coach Sullivan, official. What?
Yeah.
Stripes. I mean, what as an official? We'll talk about golf in a few minutes.
Yeah.
As an official, sir, I mean, what can I call you as a coach? Now, not as a media guy. As a coach, what can I call you? I can't call you by your first name. Do I call you Mr. Sullivan? I mean, what do I call you?
Well, as a 20-year basketball official, I get called a lot of different things out there.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm talking to things that we can say and not get in trouble for. Well, this is the internet, so we technically can say whatever we want to. But things that you don't get in trouble for and things that you would appreciate or accept as being correct.
Well, the Mr. Sullivan is what I go at school, but
Right.
I think that might be a little formal for this setting. So Brian is fine.
Well, but no, I mean, as an official on the basketball court,
Yeah.
what can they call you? They can't call you Brian. They can't use first names,
No.
right?
No.
I mean, that's even if they know you,
So-
that's frowned upon, right?
It is, but there's some guys out there that get away with it sometimes. Yeah. And they really need a timeout or a call.
Yeah. How about stripes? Is that bad?
No.
You're okay with stripes?
Yes, I am. I'm not wearing them right now. I don't really like stripes that much, actually.
But you're okay if somebody else, hey, stripes, when you're officiating?
I don't really like that one, actually, more than I think about it.
I was when I was in baseball.
Sir. Sometimes, sir. I like that one. Sir.
I like that too. It just never comes my way very often. So, Coach Sullivan. Let's talk about Coach Sullivan.
All right.
Then. We've gone way astray on that.
Well, I in the sporting world, that is probably my most visible job. Most people out there know me as an official more than a coach. But go ahead.
You had a pretty decent golf team, didn't you?
We did. Yeah.
And you had a two-sport athlete on your golf team too. That's pretty cool.
Luckily, yeah. We coordinated that with the volleyball coach, and we're able to share a really fine student athlete that was able to do both.
And you didn't have a ton of girls, so you used everybody, right? I mean, everybody was an important, integral part of what you guys did this year.
Everybody was playing all the time. Yeah, we didn't really have a whole lot of we couldn't afford any injuries, and we couldn't afford anybody getting sick, and we couldn't afford anybody just sitting out because they didn't want to play. Everybody was out there as much as they could be.
No vacations during golf season.
No, it's a sprint. You know, we hit the ground on Monday, and then boom, Thursday was our first 18-hole event, and then we played 18 more the next day. So we had 3 days of practice, and then we had 36 holes of tournaments.
Now, I was a horrible golfer. I golfed a little, and every time I thought that I was getting good, I realized I wasn't. So 18 holes of practice one day, 18 holes the next, or 9 or whatever you did, and then 2 tournaments back-to-back. That has to be mentally taxing for kids just coming off summer, especially if they didn't play a lot, wouldn't it?
It would, yes, it was, and that's why we did meet once a week during the summer just to check in, make sure we're getting our shots in. And really, if you put it in the work in the summertime that a lot of them did, you should be able to go out there and play. But when you have a lot of new players that don't have a lot of experience and they're just starting, it can be pretty daunting there, those first going out and playing 18 holes on your own.
Well, you had freshmen stepping up. You had seniors. You had girls that hadn't played a whole lot that have gotten tons better. If you go back and watch, because we did broadcast the awards, they could hear, but kind of give them the highlights of the kids on the team and what they did and what they accomplished this year.
Okay, sure. Our senior leader was Trinity Christensen. She's been on the team for 4 years. She was our only four-year senior. So she's a throwback to the Emma Thorman and Lane Torrance and Lily Vardaman run that we've had with the team. So as her freshman year would have been the year that we made it to state and did really well. We finished, made the cut at state and finished in the top 8. So her experience and her just absolute drive to try to make the team as best as it could be, and she learned all that from the people that came before her. Really was a huge plus for us. So, she all the way down to just deciding what shirt we were going to wear and the uniform combination we were using each time. So that made it a little bit easier to get everybody else in line because she just took it so seriously. And then we had 2 other seniors, Ainsley Holthouse and Kendall Ost, that had played other sports in the past, and Ainsley does 3 sports now. And so they're competitors. And even though they weren't really golfers to start out with, Ainsley started just her junior year and Kendall started her sophomore year. It helped. At least they had 1 year of experience coming in. And to have 3 seniors to build around made it a little easier for us coaches to kind of concentrate our efforts on the other players. So those 3 really held us together this season. And then we had Taryn Ritchie, who's been on the team for 3 years, and Josie Calvert, who's been on the team for 3 years. Those juniors really stepped up to the plate and made it through a full varsity season. Taryn had played all the way through varsity the previous year, so we were expecting some things from her. But Josie Calvert, who she'd been on JV the last couple of years, she really stepped up and had a fine season also. And then we knew we had something with Sophie Wilson coming in as a freshman. She's been a junior golfer around the area and just a fine athlete in her own right. So we weren't really sure how much she was going to be able to play because she did want to do volleyball also. So we had to split time with the volleyball team with her, but we knew that she could be a player for us also.
Well, I know that golf is something that more schools have picked up. COVID kind of allowed some schools to pick up golf as a team sport, and they're not big, but Macomb's had it, and it's been a good program for Macomb for quite some time.
Even way back, Macomb had some tremendous girls golfers. I can't think of her first name right now, but her last name is Cauliflower, went to state and in the 80s, played at the University of Iowa on a scholarship. So Macomb's had a tradition of having some fine girls golfers. It wasn't really until maybe the last 10 years that the team really turned the corner and started doing some tremendous things on the team level. But going back even more than 30 years, Macomb's had some talent, and it goes around with just having 3 golf courses in town,
Right.
having some professionals in town that are able to teach the game, the community support and the availability of just being able to be out on the golf course helps a lot too in the area.
So golf is not a cheap sport. So how does that work for these high schools that are, I mean, does the golf course say, hey, you know, we're going to more or less sponsor you and let you play your rounds that you need to play? How's that work? I mean, because if those kids had to pay for every round they're playing, that's a really expensive, or if the school had to pay for that, that's a lot of money.
Well, you're bringing up a great point. I think that a lot of the successful golf programs, especially the high school programs at a small school, have a really good relationship with a golf course, and the ones that are not successful don't. So we're lucky at Macomb. The boys have a great relationship with the country club, and at the girls program that I coach, we have a tremendous relationship at Gold Hills. The pro there, Danny Torrens, all of the members are just so supportive of us being out there, and it really makes a huge difference to the success of the program. Because we go places, we play other places, and then we travel to other golf courses, and you can tell the golf courses where you don't really feel welcome and how the teams are not treated very well, and they're not very successful because of that.
Well, I know that Macomb, especially this year, seems like that the sports in general have almost had an entirety of an uptick. I mean, everybody was pretty successful. Even the cross-country team, which had a lot of young kids on it, improved throughout the year. But the community support this year has always been – it's always good for Macomb, but it seems like community support across the board was just a notch higher than normal this year.
Well, I think that goes – I mean, it goes with the winning, but you have a lot to do with that too, Dwayne, and I know that you probably don't want to take credit for that, but you know, our local media has seen a downtick in some areas, but the fact that you and Justice Keene have been able to build up some coverage for us makes a huge difference with the community support that we're able to get, because if people don't know what's going on, they're not going to get behind it as much.
You know, it's funny you say that. I looked for election results today. It was hard to find any election results locally. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's like Kenny Suter. I have a lot of people that help me, you know, and it's not just me by any stretch of the imagination, but that's what's fun about it, you know, is getting people to see. I wanted so bad to do a golf match this year, and Coach Horrell, Mr. Horrell, AD Horrell, and I talked about it. I mean, we kind of, how are we going to do it? Can I find one hole where I can set in the middle and, you know, and turn the camera around? It's going to happen. Probably next year. It's going to happen next year. This year it didn't happen, but it's going to happen next year.
I'll either be there or I'll be watching, because
okay.
that would be that's going to be amazing.
We're going to have one. So now you're done with fall sports. When's your first high school basketball game? Is it Monday?
It's
Tuesday?
Monday night.
Monday night.
Yeah.
So have you really been refereeing for 20 years? You have not.
I'm the first basketball official that ever started when they were 5 years old.
Yeah,
so,
I was going to say, because
I'm obviously 25 now. So
you
yeah,
seriously
20 years.
have not been doing it 20 years, have you? Have you really?
Yeah.
I remember when you started. I didn't think that
pretty
was
rough out there.
I didn't think that was 20 years ago. That's a long time ago.
Yeah. There's probably quite a few players and coaches that wish I would have given up after that first year.
Well, they're probably now glad you didn't, because you're pretty good now. I mean, everybody has some rough times. You know, everybody wishes pretty much everybody would quit when they first start, right? Because they have some bad games,
yeah.
and everybody has bad games. But you've kind of went through the time then where it went from being good to being official to everybody hates officials.
Yeah. I think that, you know, it swings back and forth, and it depends on kind of where you are. There's such a shortage now that maybe people start being nicer to us. But, you know, I've been pretty lucky that I haven't had very, very few bad experiences out there. You know, as an official, the things you really look forward to are the relationships you have with the coaches, the competition out on the floor, any interactions you have with the players and coaches during a game. Those are my favorite parts about it.
You know, I've always said that the best officials are the ones you don't really know are there, right? I mean, and watching you over the years, I feel like you're kind of that kind of an official. You even when you make calls, you're not the flamboyant guy that's going to be, yeah, or whatever, or blowing a whistle and being all flamboyant when you make your hand motions and stuff like that. And we know some that are that way.
Yeah.
You're not that way. And for me, that's the kind of official I enjoy. Why did you get to that point? What is that, just your nature, or do you feel like that's the way it should be, or how did you get to this point?
Well, I think it kind of goes back, and you and I are a little bit alike in this. I'm an old soul, and I believe in those values that you were talking about this. I had a big influence when I in a previous life when I worked as an SID at a university, and one of the professors, and she was a softball coach at the time, really focused on what's the meaning of sports, why are we here, and she really taught me that it's about the players, it's about the participants, it's not about the coaches or the officials, and I really took that to heart. So that's one thing I always go onto the court thinking is this game is for the players. We are here for them. The coaches think it's about them, but I really believe it's about the participants and about the participation in sports. And so that's one thing I always think of. I don't want people to get it wrong. Like, I absolutely love being out there. I might have a face that makes you think that I am just kind of going even keel, but absolutely love being out there. Wouldn't rather be anywhere else. But it goes back to kind of those old-fashioned views of the officials are there hoping not to be noticed, like you said. That's really my goal.
So as we get ready for basketball season, we'll have our first games Monday too. So there's always that focus, right? So what can people expect to see this year?
Well, one of my greatest frustrations really as an official is just I wish that we were more consistent as crews from game to game. And that's one thing I get a lot from coaches is, well, a call with one night is not made the next night. So I would like to see, just as an overall, as an officials group, overall as officials, be more consistent from one group to the next. But hopefully this year fans see an emphasis on post play, and hopefully they see a few more off-ball fouls early in the season to try to clean that up. That's one of the things that the state wants, is cracking down. And I'm not talking about just defensive fouls either, offensive fouls in the post-up game. That's one of the things that the state really wants to clean up, is post play, and it's been an emphasis for several years now, and hopefully it's something that we can address early in the season so that by the time we get to February and March, you can see a little bit cleaner game.
Well, it's one of those things, like, we've both seen games that get out of hand, right? And I feel like that a lot of times when a game gets out of hand, that post area is where it starts, right? They start beating on each other a little bit. And it sounds like that's kind of what the state's like. We could, if we grasp this early and kind of get it known that this is how it's going to be, then maybe you can prevent some of that kind of stuff too.
I think that's where they're going for it. Yeah, there's going to, if hopefully it's addressed early, and if so, these first couple weeks might be kind of rough because the players are going to have to adjust to some of the points of emphasis that the officials are trying to stress. Hopefully we can do all that and get there and make for a better game by the time we get to postseason.
Well, you said something there. You have to adjust. I've always said is I don't really care how a game's called, as long as how you start is how you finish, and it's the same for everybody. The kids can adjust to it as the game goes along, right? It's when it's one way and then it's another way, and it's another, which is the consistency that you talked about, right? Yeah, and as a crew, you hate being in that situation. I've been there too many times where you go in at halftime and you have that conversation with your crew members, and you have to say, look, we have let this get out of hand, and we're going to have to change how we officiate, and it's not going to be good. And you don't want to have to do that. You want to be able to be consistent from the first quarter all the way to the fourth quarter, and that's one thing I try to talk about as a crew before the game even starts. They say, hey, look, hopefully you have some kind of a scouting report. A lot of people just think that we show up to a game as officials and we go out there and ref. But the best crews, before the game even starts, they have an idea of how the game might be played,
and the things that they need to look for before it even starts. The best crews do that. They have a conversation before the game even begins so that they are prepared, just like a team would be with a game plan before they play an opponent. We as a crew need to have that also.
Yeah, so if you know that Bushnell's got a 6'6" kid that's going to pound the crap out of people, you know to expect that. And if you know somebody doesn't shoot free throws and they're going to hack-a-shack him, then you kind of expect that kind of stuff too. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that by paying attention to what's going on in the area, right, you can know that stuff going in, right?
Absolutely, and it you don't want to say that you're going out there pinpointing and looking for something. You're not. You're still. You want to be able to prevent a lot of that stuff. So that's where your relationship with coaches and even players comes into play. It's like, hey, look, big guy, we're going to protect you on this end if they start hacking away, but we need this from you on the other end to keep you in this ball game. You know that kind of stuff happens, and the better you are prepared you are, the better the game you'll end up having.
So pick one thing before I let you go. One thing on the basketball court that people yell, he was charged, for example. Jude Kai came on. We did an audio show back in the day for Tri-State Sports Report. And Jude.
You had Jude on?
I did. Back in the day. He came on for a few weeks in a row.
I don't know if you had enough space on your computer to save all that.
It was not video, so
okay.
It was just audio, so it was a little less expansive.
You probably had to turn the volume down a little bit.
I did. But we had him come on a few times throughout the year, and we'd just talk about things that we saw during the week.
Okay.
He saw and we saw. It was Jake Croxton and I.
Okay.
And we'd talk about, that's something we should think about doing with you, actually.
I'd love to do it. You don't have to twist my arm very hard to get. You can sit down and start talking about sports, especially when there's a microphone.
But because I think that would be good. So back to my point.
Okay.
What's I know, right? I get discombobulated. First thing that pops into your head that people scream about that they don't really understand.
Call it both ways. That's the number one thing I hate.
Call it both ways.
Yeah, that is the number one. Like if you are sitting in the stands and I'm officiating, and you really want me to get annoyed, that's what you should yell.
Well, I guess I can.
I probably shouldn't put that out there because now I'm going to have some people out there just sarcastically yelling it at me.
I'm going to yell it from the top
Thank
of the BPC gym.
I'll let you do it. I just don't want Coach Sears doing it.
I will.
I don't. Can you tell him that's off limits?
Yeah, I'll tell him.
Nobody
call it both ways doesn't work. You know what's funny is when it's not funny. No, it is funny. When COVID happened and we came back, and
I know where you're going with this.
And we had to do every game. And I mean every game. We were doing junior high games.
Yeah.
And Devin Raleigh was doing a junior high game in Bushnell.
All right.
And I'm up there announcing, talking on the TV or the broadcast. And I said something, and he's looking at me. Like, the game's going on. And he's looking at me. And I'm on air. I look at him. I said, "Would you pay attention to the game?" I mean, there's nobody in there.
No, you could hear everything.
Yeah. He could hear what I was saying, right? So he's looking at me. I'm like, "Can you pay attention to the game?" And he's like, like he's throwing me. I mean, that's something that should never happen, probably. But it's fun.
Yeah.
That and he thought it was funny, and we laugh about it all the time. I mean, you can't do that in a normal gym.
No, you have to have no fans there.
Yeah, and that's what it was. There was 50 people in the gym, and they were all clear up around the top at Bushnell, and there was nothing between him and I. So it's kind of like I always do, like, free throws in a close game, and it gets really quiet.
Yeah, right.
Like the whole gym's quiet, and I still have to talk. So not only the people listening, but everybody in the gym. You can't say anything bad because everybody in the gym hears you.
Well, you're not as bad. Jack Hull is the worst because everybody could hear him even when there is a crowd. You can hear him. He's so loud on the speakers.
I tend to talk like this a little bit, like lower my voice a little bit.
You got a good Jim Nance voice.
So I try not to. If I talk like this normally, but then it gets quiet. So I could still say what I want to say, but hopefully the guy with the big muscles and the beat the crap out of me tattoo on his arm doesn't just reach over and punch me in the face. That's the thing is I told, like, Tegan Perry's been doing games with me.
He does a great job.
And I told him, I said, you gotta remember where you're at sometimes because, like, we did all the Macomb games, all the Macomb football games.
Yeah.
Several of them we had to do in the bleachers of the opponent. And, like, literally, Rova was the one place that comes to mind.
Yeah.
They're literally, I can reach out and touch them. They're that close to us. And Kenny was there that night, and they started chanting something. And one of the parents said something, and Tegan said something, like, smart aleck, not like directly to the guy, but I looked at him like, I pushed a commercial. I'm like, you need to shut up. We're in amongst a whole bunch of people that probably won't like us because Macomb's winning by 40 points at this point. So you probably need to not say that, and that was like his second or third game, But that's the kind of stuff that people don't necessarily see. And I'm sure you guys officials have that same. There's certain fans that you talk to or certain coaches, like Tony Akers was one that would, I'm sure, get under your skin occasionally.
No, Tony was one of my favorite coaches to have.
I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean,
Tony was fun because he wanted to know, and he would tell you, he wanted to know where the line was. And he would keep pushing the line until you said, okay, Tony, that's the line.
Right. And
then that was it. But until then, it was kind of fun to see, okay, here's Tony, he's going to do his thing. And it worked because he did get his girls fired up, and it helped him play for him.
Right.
They would play hard for him because of that. But as an official, it was kind of like a game where, okay, how far you go? Okay, that's where you need to stop.
It's a game within a game.
Yeah.
See, I've done some officiating, not for IHSA, but like men's league stuff, and there's been the times where I give somebody a technical, and men's league you have to sit down for 5 minutes after you get your technical,
right.
And I'm walking by, and the guy I gave a technical to is chirping at me. I literally see I pulled a Devin Raleigh. I stopped, like the game's going on. I'm running up the court as much as I could run. I'm running up the court. I stopped before half court. I turned to him. I said, "Are you done?" He just looked at me, and I took off back on. There's the line, right? Yeah. There's the line.
Yeah.
So anyway, we need to, like, every couple weeks or something, if you're free on a Wednesday, anytime you're free on a Wednesday and we're here, you should come up and we should talk about basketball.
I would love to do it. I love talking sports. I love talking basketball, and I'll do it anytime that it works.
Well, Brian, I appreciate you coming out. Hey, you're on the Holiday Tournament Committee, right?
I sure am. Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Oh, great. Yeah. All right. Sure.
So, Southeastern's there. You got some good teams there this year.
We're very excited to have Southeastern in the field this year. I don't know the history great, but it's been obviously, I don't know if they've ever played, but it's been a long time if they have ever played, been in it. We're very excited to have them. I mean, they had a great run last year. Made it to the Super Sectional, got beat by Liberty, who's also in the tournament this year. So we're expecting, them to be great. Liberty's obviously got a lot of great players. Macomb and Rock Ridge and Farmington. It should be a great event, and it's one of those things that's very difficult to pick. It's tough to even seed it because we're going off of maybe like 5 or 6 games played, and then we have to seed it. It's going to be a fun thing.
And that's always one of the most popular tournaments, I think, in the state. I mean, it's got a rich history. It's always been a good tournament. I mean, I moved to Bushnell in '82 or something like that, and it was a tournament then. I remember going my freshman year and watching the seniors win it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, going back. I mean, that tournament has got history on the side, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And it's wide open. I mean, most years you just don't know who's going to come out on top, and that's one of the things I think a lot of people like about it.
A lot of basketball in 3 days.
It is. Now, this year it's going to be 4 days.
Well, that's good.
Because there's a day in between the second and third day. So it goes Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
Why is that?
The Western had a home game on that Thursday, so we couldn't use Western Hall that third day or one of the days.
So you take a day off.
Yep.
Is that good or bad?
I don't know. It's going to be different.
I don't remember that happening before.
We've done it a few times just because we've had a Sunday in there and we had to take a day off. I don't know how it's going to change things. might be for the better, just because that second day you might have to play 2 games to win the championship. It might be nice to have a day off. Teams can practice or have a shoot around or go over some things before their semifinal game if they make it that far. So I don't know how it's going to play, but I think it might be kind of a might be a good thing in a bad way. You know, we would rather not. We'd rather just play it straight through. But
is Jake Croxton announcing again?
Yeah.
So he'll probably appreciate the break for his vocal cords, his pearly pipes.
Jake could go. He could go 5 days.
Hey, you know what? I call BS on that because he's drinking certain stuff and sucking on throat lozenges and whining it by the end of how much he's talked.
I think he has a sponsorship for that stuff because he's got like you said, he's got the lemon
he's
drops.
He's got a whole bag of stuff.
The tea. He's got the tea and the thermos.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive what the operation is there.
Yeah, I mean it's I don't know. I need to get Jake on here once too because Jake and I used to do the audio version of this all the time, and I haven't had him on.
I think you should probably stick with the audio.
Yeah, well, if I can be on camera, he can be on camera. I mean, that's not saying a whole lot. But at any rate, I appreciate you stopping by. Should be a great tournament. I know that you guys are streaming it through somebody out of somewhere.
Yes. Clutch Sports.
Yes, that's it.
Yep.
Sorry,
and unfortunately, there's a subscription, but if you can buy it for the whole tournament or just the day, and you can watch all the games.
And Justice is going to do a lot of those games.
Justice, yes, that's the plan. Is he's going to be on the broadcast as well.
Yeah, so he'll have a sore throat. He might want a day off too.
Yeah, the better Macomb plays, the more he's going to be yelling.
Yeah, and
we love that.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so. That's how it should be. So, well, thank you for stopping by and talking to us. Congratulations on a good golf season, and good luck on a good refereeing season.
We'll try to do it again, and this has been great fun, and hopefully we'll get to do it again.
All right, we'll take a break, and Kenny and I will be back with a few highlights and to end the show in just a few minutes here on TSSR Weekly Live from Sports Corner at 124.
After my appointment that day, I just made up my mind that I'm going to have my baby here in Macomb and this hospital because irrespective of where you're from, who you are, it's just their line of duty to make sure they give care, make you comfortable.
I thought about the staff of MDH, they're all good. And you will get all the support you need. This is just the best place for you and your family.
At Western Illinois University, leathernecks don't just blend in. Our purple stands out. Our students are innovative, creative, and resilient. At WIU, there's limitless potential, with campuses in Macomb, the Quad Cities, and online. Visit wiu.edu/potential to become a leatherneck and get an education that stands out.
I chose MDH. We moved here and I was researching different places that would allow me to VBAC, have a vaginal birth after C-section, and the doctors here do encourage that, and so I chose that after looking online, and I wouldn't want to deliver anywhere else because they all go above and beyond, and they're so kind and actually care about you.
I would have to say that is the most rewarding part of what I do, making a difference in people.
The thing I enjoy most is that we take care of a wide variety of people in our community. I see infants through teenagers and mothers and fathers, and I really enjoy that.
MTC Communications is building a high-speed fiber network in our community, and we're putting priority on the areas with the greatest interest. That means we need your input to let us know you want us to build fiber in your area first. Experience the speed and convenience of fiber internet by visiting our special website and registering. Let us know you want fiber internet today and make your voice heard.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to TSSR Weekly, live from Sports Corner at 124. And I got a message here. I wonder if that's it is Teresa. She said, so Teresa, hi. Your family's walking out. I just told them to give you a hard time, and I just got your message, so I apologize. Never mind. If they're going to give you a hard time, they're going to give you a hard time anyway. You deserve it, Teresa. You just do. we work together long enough that I think you deserve a hard time. So what do we want to do here first? MHS volleyball? Is that what you got first?
Yep,
Football,
that'll be the football game. That first one should be the Q&D game.
Let's see if that's what it is.
Well, if you hit the play button, it will work.
I have to push the play button?
That one right there, the restart.
Huh.
I don't know why, but hey, it's working now.
It is working now. Maybe.
Maybe.
You got a long intro.
It's not playing.
It's not playing. What'd you do to it?
I don't know.
It's not.
Maybe try the highlight too. What the heck?
None of them are working, Kenny. What did you do, Kenny?
I don't know. I put the thing in, I moved it over, and I slid them in.
Let's take a look here.
Yep, that's the problem. They're trying to find it on the device.
On the thumb drive?
Yep.
Well, that's a little bit of a problem.
That's just a bit of an issue. Hey, I do think I have a splitter here.
Okay, well, you get the splitter.
You can talk for a little bit.
I'll talk for a second, and we'll see if we can get the additional splitter here. I got one in the truck if he doesn't have one. Kenny loaded them right onto the screen where he's supposed to. He just didn't load them onto the computer. Do you have one in there? Hey, here. It's the computer's in the back seat. There you go. So we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back. A little change of pace here. We'll be right back on TSSR Weekly at Sports Corner at 124 in just a couple moments.
I couldn't ask for a better agent, for a better company in a disaster where you have no idea where to start.
I learned that there's not a given in life. It takes a team. There's people that are going to watch out for us and they care.
It's been pretty stressful. Once we saw Lori and got our plan, it's
like a huge weight lifted.
I would say that one of the most rewarding aspects of being an obstetrician is being present at the delivery of a baby. It's mostly a joyous occasion, and it's just so much fun to be a part of that.
All right, we're back, I think. So, folks, it'll take us a second for us to find this, I think, because we had to change.
It should just plug right in.
Well, but it's in a different location, so it might have to change. We're going to find out. Let's go back and try this again, folks. Take 2 live from Sports Corner at 124. This is TSSR Weekly and MHS football, and it is going to have to be found, just like I thought. Give me just a second.
Yeehaw.
Browse. And what are we watching?
We are
Q&D, right?
Q&D football.
Hey, let's do that one.
Football.
Oh, that's
We've got a Q&D football and a Q&D volleyball.
Okay, let's try it. Let's see what happens. Here we go. Is it going to play? Hey, look at that. It's playing.
All right.
2 minutes worth of Q&D highlights, and here we go. Under the lights on a Saturday night, Jack Duncan, a sliding catch by BT himself, Langdon Allen, on the touchdown for the Bombers. 6-0 on the failed 2-point conversion. Now Duncan's going to look back and throws across again. A nice catch there by JT Jeter.
He had a
off the right
couple
side.
of great catches that we'll see later on. A crazy one on the sideline. Looked like Santonio Holmes back in 2011.
Here's Duncan to Jeter. Touchdown pass. 12-0 Bombers here in the second quarter. 12-7 Bombers. And there's Lunt throwing to the middle, and it's going to be popped. A big-time hit. Interception by Ethan Ladd. The hit was by J.T. Jeter. It was by J.T. Jeter. And the interception by Ladd. Now Duncan back to pass again. And he's going to come near side. There's the toe tap that you were talking about. Let's pause that. What do you say? See if we can bring that back a little bit slowly here and see if people can watch it. Look at the toe tap right there. Right there. Oh, I missed it. Anyway. There it is. And, man, what a catch by J.T.
Barely
Jeter.
able to get both in. NFL rules, have to keep both in. I don't know. Now that I say that, I'm pretty sure college has changed to both feet in as well.
Here's Duncan, pump fake, spins, throws downfield, and there is Drew Watson. Drew Watson had some huge catches for the Bombers late in this game when J.T. Jeter went out with an ankle injury in the second half. There's Lunt and Meredith under pressure, and here comes Lindsay May in pressure, and then there comes the interception by Jaden Jones. Or was that – yeah, well, no, it was Holdhouse. Braden Holdhouse with the interception, and now Duncan. And it's all Reiner here in the fourth quarter as he eats up the Raiders defense and turns the corner there. And I remember on that play that I was wondering how he was ever going to get around the corner. It didn't look like he was going to get there, but he did. Now Duncan's going to make the completed pass to Jaden Jones. And there was we're going to rewind that a little bit. They talked about that tonight at the awards ceremonies. This pass right here was the go-ahead touchdown as the Raiders had taken the lead. Jaden Jones breaks a tackle, breaks another tackle, spins out, and then outruns the defense for a touchdown to give the Bombers a lead for good.
Cameraman for this game up on top with all the other Q&D coaches were just dumbfounded. They said, how did that guy not get tackled at that point?
And then there's Jack Duncan with the final score of the night for the Bombers, and that's going to ice it, a 28-14 win for the Bombers in the first playoff game. Hosted at home since 2012 and a win. We'll move on to MHS Volleyball. Which one was this supposed to be?
Sherrard versus Sherrard.
The Sherrard game. And this is sectional semifinal action right now as we get ready to go with that.
There we are.
It's rolling. Hey, at least you had them.
Hey, it could be worse. At least I got it done. I spent 5 hours doing all this today with some homework, and I still have homework to finish tonight before midnight, so hopefully we finish up soon.
There's Allie Thorman with a kill for the Bombers. Allie Thorman again, or was that Taylor Adair? That was Thorman again. There's a block by Thorman, dug by Robinson, bump set, and an attack by Stortzum, and the kill. As you can see, the Tigers hanging with the Bombers for a while. Here's Ellie Duncan with the serve, I do believe, and it's an ace. Was I right? It was Ellie.
And another ace coming up next. This was the end of the first set. Stufflebeam gets an ace to end it off.
Off the arms and to the bleachers it goes. Set number one goes to the Bombers 25-15. Again, this is a sectional semi. The Bombers getting a win over Sherrard in two. You can see Sherrard actually up 5-4 here, and then the Bombers take control. There's Lucanen on the attack for MHS. She had a big game that night. The Bombers had up in 9-8 here, and here comes near side to Kennedy Adair, and she drove that one off of a Sherrard player, and it went about 10 rows up into the bleachers.
Especially Farmington has those, you can see on the far side, risers go straight up as that ball flies.
There's another kill. That's Taylor Adair, or is that
Taylor Adair?
Yes,
yes.
Taylor Adair.
And then to end this one, Thorman gets a kill to end it.
There it is, right in the noggin of the Sherrard player. 25-14, so 25-15, 25-14 win for the Bombers in the sectional semi. Let's go to sectional volleyball. MHS V-ball number 2. That's the Q&D one, right?
Yes, indeed.
So we'll watch that one next as the season unfortunately came to an end for the volleyball team as they played Q&D, and Q&D went down to defeat at the hands of the Bombers at the pit earlier this year, but not so lucky this time around as Q&D came to play. And here is Lucanen on the kill for the Bombers.
Went to 3 sets, especially for a final of a semifinal round. That's a great game. Both of them real close too, most of the way through.
There's Thorman with a kill. Kennedy Adair from the right side with the kill as well, as she on the serve receive got the kill. Here's Lily Marth with the serve for Q&D. Back set to Allie Thorman for the kill for MHS.
Adair all over this game, just like was pretty much through the rest of the year, as Raiders real tight in this one. This one went 27-25 as they were battling out in the second set, trying to stay alive for the Bombers.
Yeah, Bombers came from behind to get a win in this second set to force a set 3, and there's
do believe that was Adair once again.
Taylor Adair, yeah. Taylor Adair on the kill.
This one really wasn't a kill more as it went around the side, but able to see everybody happy going to the third set.
Stortzum with it.
However, you can see the third set kind of went a little awry. 19-6 is going in. Stortzum gets a kill. However, that would end 25-12.
Yep, so a 3-set loss at the hand of the Quincy Notre Dame Raiders that time. And Emma Hoeing, man, that girl is legit, folks. She's going to be good for a while. Let's go back to Bomber football now, as they played Murfreesboro on Saturday and had their season unfortunately come to an end in a game that was totally all about a tale of two halves.
Oh, completely. I didn't realize when I start with these editings, I find the final score so I can kind of get a guess on how the game will be. Doing that first half, I was just like, oh no, Bombers. Because that first half, you can see everything working well. A nice run up the middle by, I do believe that was
Max Reiner. And Langdon Allen had a completion for a sports corner first down on the last play.
Going to see him a little bit of the defense as Jones will get a pick right over on top. And a nice run, too, afterwards as he's able to cross the 50.
Yeah, Jaden Jones is an athlete, there's no doubt. And he gets a pretty big hit there by Caldwell, the quarterback, coming in and laying him out. But he got the interception nonetheless for the Bombers. And Bombers up 8-0 here. And here's Duncan throwing to BT. Langdon Allen, he's a little spin and move, a shimmy and a shake, and he goes in for the 35-yard touchdown pass. And the Bombers up 16-0 after this, and going into the second half, it was all Bombers, but boy, did things change in half number 2.
And Langdon Allen still keeping it up. 16-8. Red Devils have already gotten the score right at the goal line, able to pick that off, save a little bit of time for him.
Yep, and the Bombers there felt like they had a chance again. Now they're down 16-14. Reiner on the run for the Bombers here as he gets down inside the 20 to the 15.
That's how he played all year, man. Just breaking tackles, running people over, head down. We're not able to finish it off, however. Final score of 20-16.
The Bombers had a penalty on that play there, I do believe, and it cost them a first down, and that was kind of the beginning of the end, unfortunately, for the Bombers. Now let's look at, we've got some big-time 8-man football coming your way here in the next weekend. We talked a little bit about it at the beginning of the show, but West Central and South Beloit played 2 weeks ago, and we have the West Central Heat against the Polo Marcos this weekend in a semifinal. But here's Drosty,
yes.
And he goes touchdown.
and touchdown. I do believe at the end of the first half, over 300 yards, 5 touchdowns.
360 yards and 5 touchdowns. 7 touchdowns, actually.
7, yes.
He had 7, I believe. And there's another pitch out, a little sidestep inside, and off to the races he goes. Hampton for South Beloit can't catch him, and he's going to go in for a 71-yard touchdown.
Both those drives, 1 play.
Yeah. Well, the first one was 2 because they had a penalty.
That's an offsides call. That doesn't count to me.
There's a pitch to Drosty again around the right side. He outruns everybody again. And Hampton tried to take a better angle, but still not good enough. He goes in for the touchdown there.
And that kind of shows the difference of 8-man football to 11. As in 11-man football, you're seeing a lot of stuff inside, as that one does work inside. But a lot of the plays that go for big yardage in 8-man football find that sideline instantly.
Drosty in for another touchdown there, up the middle that time. And now here comes
a little different. Meldrum up the middle, fullback. He was pretty much their second choice no matter what. After a couple of drives, they started setting him up for some big yardage after pretty much they were triple teaming Drosty on every play. Already 36-8. Sobos finally scores something. Right back to that bread and butter pitch out towards Drosty as that one goes for another long touchdown.
That kid had to be tired. 360
he's pretty
yards,
much used to it at this point.
7 touchdowns, I think, is what he ended up with. So we got West Central. Here's another touchdown run for Drosty. As you can see, second quarter now. We've got West Central at Polo on Saturday. That's a 1 o'clock start. And then a 2 o'clock start for Amboy hosting St. Thomas More, both semifinals. And there's Drosty outrunning the defense again for another long touchdown run. And, yes, folks, that is the quarter is correct. It's second quarter, and it's 58-16.
Mason Carnes on a sneak. A quarterback sneak turns it in.
Look at this stiff arm. He waited to stiff arm the kid, and then he starts high-stepping to try to keep from getting tackled. And I don't know. That was about as good of a run as we've seen all year.
Pretty much broke multiple tackles, started out inside, found that sideline, had to outrun a couple of people. And when you're talking about a quarterback who's a big boy, I mean, he's over 6 foot, almost 200 pounds, and he's able to outrun cornerbacks like that.
Yeah,
that's why that is a semifinal team for the past 2 years and looking to make the finals this Saturday.
And they're just go up the road to Monmouth. So here's the cool thing about TSSR Game Time Live, folks. We've got both semifinals of the I-8FA this Saturday. We got the state championship I-8FA game live from Monmouth College on Friday, November 18th. Will be a huge crew. We'll have multiple cameras, sideline cameras, wireless microphones. Chris Frankhauser and Jeff Borders will be on the call. Kenny will be directing. We'll have cameras, 2 cameras up top. We'll have a couple cameras down the side. We'll have a pregame show for an hour leading up to it. It's going to be all kinds of fun. We did it last year. Now it was our first big adventure into doing that kind of stuff. We kind of have a better idea of what's going on now. Should be a lot of fun. And I tell you what, the football, 8-man football, if you haven't watched it, is a lot of fun. You need to take a peek at it.
It's going to be a crazy next couple of days getting all that set up, trying to make sure that everything works great for the finals.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you think are going to be in the final matchup?
Oh, man, I don't know. I'm gonna say that I think it is going to be St. Thomas More and West Central.
That's exactly where I was going to go as well. Looking back at the film, I do believe it's going to be kind of a close game, and boys, St. Thomas More, but I do believe they'll kind of edge them out. And Polo, great pedigree, been great for many years. Last year's champion. You're going to have to figure out a way to stop Drosty, Meldrum, Carnes, and that wasn't even adding any passing that they've ever done. Yeah. And they are a quick team. They are right to the blocks no matter what, no huddle most of the time, and that offensive line gets a good push.
They're so fast that when I was doing play-by-play, I couldn't hardly keep up. I mean, it's crazy. And that's why I told Coach Kirby afterwards, I said, you need to slow down a little bit. Just slow down a little, would you? I mean, but Coach Kirby's great. These I-8FA coaches been tons of fun to work with. We're looking forward to a great weekend this weekend and an awesome championship game. Should be a lot of fun. Kenny, thanks for everything you do and everything getting this thing ready. It's awesome to have Kennedy Adair and Coach Brian Sullivan on with us talking about golf and basketball officiating and the Western Holiday Tournament. And can you believe basketball starts next week?
And it's 72 degrees outside.
Not tomorrow, though, or not the next day, something like that. It's going to change pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we want to thank everybody here at Sports Corner at 124 for having us again tonight. Thanks for watching either this and or the awards ceremony a little bit earlier from Macomb High School. It was awesome to do that. We just added that as a thing because everybody's there. If other schools did everybody at the same time, we'd try to get that too. But just an opportunity to get everybody on the camera a little bit. And so we took the opportunity. So for Kenny Suter, I'm Dwayne Hewitt. Thanks for joining us tonight live from Sports Corner at 124. This is TSSR Weekly. We'll see you next week. But first, we'll see you Saturday for a couple of I-8FA football games here on TSSR Game Time Live.